I guess I have one kind of main worry that I'm kind of afraid to tell my mom, because I'm afraid that she's gonna react in like that it's gonna drive her to it. And I guess my main fear is that she's gonna commit suicide either when we're not home or even when we are home, because sometimes we're downstairs and she's upstairs. And
I wonder, do you have any idea how it is that you have that worry? Has she said anything, or have you, I know she was in the hospital, was that an issue when she was in the hospital, or have you seen TV programs or other things where people, you know?
Well, it scared me when she went into the hospital, because I didn't know if I didn't feel like I got all the facts about why she was in there. And in the beginning, I thought that maybe she had a suicide attempt and that's why she was in there. And, you know, I'm just so worried that she's going to feel unloved, and that, you know, and that maybe me maybe not doing one thing that I usually do will, like, set her off and say, you know, no one loves me anymore, you know, not to do the laundry or something, and that'll, you know, drive her to do it.
I would like to be able to say to them that I can't promise that thoughts won't go through my head, but I will not act on them, and they are not responsible for. They're not responsible for me, for how I feel, for what I do, for if one day is a good day, one day is not a good day. They're not responsible.
I'm still not 100% comfortable with that one. I just, I don't know. I mean, you say that you'd feel good about being able to say that. I mean, are you saying that for them, or are you saying that for you? You know, I mean, you know, is talking about, you know, having thoughts of suicide and being able to say that, yes, I have thoughts of suicide, but I'm not acting on them. I mean, is that more for your benefit or for theirs? I mean, I'm not trying to put you under the gun here.
But I think there are two important principles here. One is that you all need to either be able to say it together or to respect the other's right to say it even. But I think the other question that is important here is, you know, our experience has been that what children have lived through needs to be addressed. If they've been concerned about suicide or the hospitalization, it's useful to talk about that. In the area in which they haven't lived through it, there's more discretion. And as we had talked about, Elizabeth had voiced some concerns about whether you would feel so bad that life wasn't worth living. And I think it's not a concern that many parents have is, I'll put that thought in the child's mind.
I think it's already gone through.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. So if you think it's okay to bring it up and talk about it like that, then I'll go along with it.
Well, how do you feel?
I just don't know.
Yeah, you're not sure. How do you feel about it?
I feel that it's, if I don't say something, we don't say something, it's almost going to be too superficial, it's like not really admitting. It's such a big, I know it's such a huge worry, But I don't want to lie. I know what you're saying too, but I don't know
I know
what
you're
you-
not going to act on it, and yes, I know that, okay, if those thoughts go through your head, they go through your head.
No, and I know now that I'd call for help. Maybe that's what I could say,
Yeah.
that I would that be all right?
I think it would be all right as long as you feel that it's all right to talk about.
Look, if it's an important part of what we're doing and you feel it should be brought up, then I'll go along with it. I'm just afraid of it, that's all.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean
Well,
that
and I think
it's-
there are a
that's-
couple of points that come out of that. One is we could put it off to another session, but another is whether you feel there's enough support that if it doesn't work out well, we can put it back together, so to speak, that you feel you
Right.
can reach me or talk to Elizabeth such that she's not thrown by it. And I think as long as you feel that, it's all right to be uncertain how they will react, there's no way of knowing, but that there's enough there to carry the conversation forward, then it's probably.
All right, I'll go along with that.
All right. And just a couple of other things. I mean, I think the other key here is that you really are together about this and that you communicate that. And there was one issue about a brief moment where divorce was talked about, you know, between the two of you.
Sorry,
I don't think it's anything to be sorry about, but I think that if the
What's an
word came
example?
up between the two of you, it's probably come up for the kids. And another principle in all this is it's probably better to say more rather than less. Whether they're worried about divorce or not, if you say this is not an issue, then you've laid it out for them.
There's been a lot of stress in the house. You with me on that?
Mhm.
Jamie?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. And I think that stress has caused us to maybe change the way we live a little bit. Change the way you live. Change the way you live. You know, you're spending a lot more time, you are anyway, you're spending a lot more time in the house and, you know, just kind of, you know, being a little...
Like our house.
Yeah, I know. I like our house too, but I also want it to turn into a tomb. You know, it's, you know, it's
I mean,
it's
there's
where we...
nothing wrong with just
It's where...
sitting in the house.
No,
Doing homework or something.
no, but you also have to have a life outside the house and a life outside the family too. And so do you. And feel comfortable having a life outside the family.
I think Mom wants to say something, Mom.
I think what Daddy is saying is that if we are honest with each other, and I can say I'm sorry, and I could keep saying I'm sorry, and I do, but it's in one sense saying it's sorry, and in one sense I'm saying it's not like something I can help. So I have to like just put that there so that you recognize it. If I could do something different, I would do it. So I'm trying to do something different. I'm going to the doctor, and we're talking here with Dr. Beardsley, and because I love you and I love Daddy and I want us to keep working together.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. I mean, at least you're trying to make an effort, you know? I mean,
Right.
going to the doctor and coming here and trying to talk about it. I mean, I think that takes a lot of courage, you know? I mean, just seeing that, I don't know about you, Jamie, but I mean, I know just seeing that, I mean, that makes me feel better that at least you're not giving up, you know?
Well, I want to say something to you, Elizabeth, and that is that I'm glad you feel that way, but you and Jamie, your Daddy, you are not responsible for me in the sense of what I do.
No, I know. I mean,
But I wonder if, do you want to help in here?
Well,
Am I-
yeah, I think you're right on track. I'd say two things. I think many times kids feel that they have to do more. When we were talking about what the illness is, I think the easiest way to say that is, what was it like for the family 3 or 4 years ago, and what was it like 3 or 4 months ago? And there was a big difference, because 3 or 4 months ago your mom had been having a depression and things had been very tough. But 3 or 4 years ago there was none of this. And I think that's the experience we're talking about, and that's the difference. And I think in that situation, Elizabeth, many kids feel that they have to do more or be particularly careful to take care of their parents. And I think your mom is saying that while that's wonderful and very heartfelt and very important, that you don't need to do that anymore, that she's going to take care of herself in a way, and if she has a hard time, there are other people to reach out to. And I'm only speaking because it's something we've talked about several times in our meetings here.
You know, sometimes it's like, do you need help? Like, we could be asking you, do you need help, or do you need something, or what? You know, we could be trying to help, and you just, you know. So, I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen a lot more, or I'm not saying that, you know, like, that I don't trust you, but I don't know, like, I think maybe there should be, like, some kind of, you know, something that, because if you're, like, way gone and we're, like, freaking out, then I don't, you know, it's not a matter of trust, it's just like, you know, we don't want anything bad to happen, so.
I wonder if you can say what maybe you've been worried about that might be bad that would happen, or might be concerning, or you know, can you say any more about that?
Well, just that, you know, like, I don't, you know, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe you just, like, would, I don't know, like, I don't know what you would, like, in that, because I know it's a disease and all that, but, you know, I don't know what you would think of doing, you know what I mean? Like, so, do you know what I mean?
You mean would I think of killing myself? Is that what you're saying?
Well, maybe not that. I mean, even that, but, like, you know, even something less. I don't know, like driving off by yourself or something like that.
You mean leave?
Where we can't find you,
You
or
mean leave?
yeah, like leave or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know that wouldn't be you. That would just be like you under the, you know, in the depression.
So I'm going to tell you as honestly as I can what we've talked about, and because I mean, we pretty much knew that you would be thinking about this somewhere inside. I mean, you're both very bright and you're both very attuned, and there are times that I will just feel very badly. I'll feel very removed. I'll feel, I don't want it to sound mystical, it isn't mystical, but it's, I described it to Dr. Beardsley, it's like a fog is around you. It's like, I said to him, it's like a curtain coming down. And I can't promise you that I wish I could. I can't promise you that I will never feel that way or never think, oh boy, you'd be better off not to have me around, to have to deal with this, to have to look at me like this. But I will promise you, I absolutely promise you, I mean, absolutely, that when I feel like that, or if I feel like that, I know who I can call for help. And I promise you, I will call.
Can you say anything more about what this has been like for you and what some of the worries you've had have been?
Basically, my main worry was that you would hurt yourself or maybe commit suicide. And basically that was when I worry. Like my main worries. That's what I worry about. You know, I mean, I have little worries, you know, like, will you take your medicine, or, you know, make sure you eat breakfast, and that type of thing, but I guess my main concern is doing something to yourself that you would regret and that we would all regret.
Well, Elizabeth, I ate a waffle this morning. I just think you guys are so special, and you are so wonderful, and I love you so much. You just have to you have to know that.
I guess one of my other worries along with that is you say, you know, you'll call for help, you'll go see someone, and I'm sure you will, but what if it's like an impulsive thing that, you know, you say, okay, I'm going to call someone and I'm going to stop myself, but, you know, if you call the ambulance or something, you know, they don't get there, you know, like that, you know, and, you know, I don't...
It's a very good question, but it seems for me more that it's like thoughts go around and around and around and around. It's not like it's like in the movies where 1 second you're like this and the next second you're like that. That's not the way it is. It's kind of I mean, it's a fair question, I'm not saying that, but the thoughts keep going around and around and around, and so I know enough now from talking with my other doctor and Dr. Beardsley, and that it's like recognizing, it's no, you know, in school when you know, we've talked about like when you're having trouble in that science, in the biology project, and we talked about, you know, as soon as you started to feel like there was a problem, what did you do? What did you do? You went after school, right?
And I went and I talked to the teacher.
Right, because before that we'd let it go, right? And then you got a test that wasn't good, and then you got another test that wasn't good, and we said, wait a minute. So as soon as there started to be a problem, you went in the same. It's kind of the same, you know.
Do you feel like you understand that a little better? Do you still have some questions?
I mean, they're not questions. I mean,
Do you have any concerns?
Or
it
feelings?
doesn't- Yeah, I mean, just...
I mean, the thought is still with me. You know, there's not much that's going to erase that right now, and it's always going to be front, back of my mind, you know, and that hearing that it's not, you know, since we're not with you all the time and we don't know what you're thinking, but just telling us that it's not that impulsive and that you know that you think about it and that if you thought you were going to do something like that, you would call. I mean, that does take a little of the worry off. But, you know, it's still there.
And I think that's very well put. You know, I don't think that one conversation will make it go away. But I think you can talk about it over time. And after all, I think the other part of this is that you can maybe over time see that your mom is able to let you know when she's having a good day or a bad day, and is able more to take, to come back into a role of parenting. And do you have other things you want to ask or say?
I mean, there's some days when I feel, I guess I would feel more comfortable leaving, or I would feel more comfortable staying after school or something. And then there are days that when I'm at school, I feel like I should be going home now to see how Mom is, or if I should call or something. And I know I shouldn't feel that way because you're a capable adult, and
Well, but I haven't been. I mean, as far as the way it hasn't been the usual picture at home. But with that said, that's my work.
What we're trying to do here is start a process where things can be talked through. And then all of you can be more comfortable in gradually making changes. And you don't have to feel rushed into it or like you have to give up what you've been worried about. But maybe just be able to begin to put it into words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also not be rushed in the sense of saying, well, now we've talked about it, so it's over, and I don't have those worries and all. But if they come back, to talk about them, or to talk about it in stages. Anything else, Elizabeth?
I would have said some of these things before, but I was worried to tell you because I was worried that maybe you hearing it, that we were thinking this too, that maybe you would think that this is what we wanted and it's not, and that it's just a worry that I have, and I was worried that telling you would make you want to do it more, and just, I hope it didn't, and that just, that it was just something that I've been thinking about, sometimes, and that,